Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined as usual by Tucker Hazel, and we are here for a pretty special video because right
Not
now we
really.
are sitting.
It's not a very special video. A lot of people make this video. I just watched Gerard Cleo the Completionist video, this exact version of this video a couple days ago.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined as usual by Tucker Hazel, and today we're here for a very ordinary video. And the video we are making is our list of our favorite Switch exclusives as of January 2020. I think this would be kind of cool to come back and revisit these lists at the end of the year and
Sure.
see if Nintendo is able to release anything that squeezes its way in here.
Release
Um,
anything.
yeah, we'll put the bar that low. I mean, they didn't really clear it that well last year, so you
Yeah.
know. Um, so with that in mind, we're going to share our lists. Of course, if you want to chat with us about your list, you could always do it in the comments. But if you want to be a cool guy, join our Discord server. Link is always top of the description. We love chatting with people over
Always.
there. We got a very good community over there, and we're always talking about games and just obscene nonsense. So you want to be there, but you
Yes.
also want to be here for the rest of this video because Tucker, I think these lists are going to be pretty divergent. There's obviously some games that are on
Sure.
everyone's favorite Switch exclusive list, so
hmm
we'll have those. But I should note before we begin, I did not include things such as the NES or SNES online apps, of course, because
Yeah,
well,
that's not a
because
game.
yeah, I know, but it's important to know. And same with 3D All Stars.
No, of course, yeah.
So those things that you might consider weird technicalities aren't in there.
And also,
Um,
fuck all of you, Breath of the Wild is a Switch exclusive. None of you played it on Wii U.
yes. Also, I have Wii U ports on my list. I'll say that.
Oh, well, that's certainly a way that ours already diverges.
Yes. I only have one, and I think it's pretty substantial of an upgrade to make it
Yeah, no,
more.
and it's obvious which one it is, so
Yes, and we'll get to it. I talk about it quite frequently. But Tucker, do you want to start with your number 10, or do you want me to start
I
with mine?
do, because this is a spicy one. I'm ready. I'm ready for the vitriol. We got hatred on our Mario hoax video. We got hatred on Sephiroth video. But now I'm saying my 10th favorite Nintendo Switch first party game is 1-2 Switch.
Oh, see, I was thinking maybe it was gonna be like one of the really popular ones that you were gonna
Oh,
just
but it
shit
was
on and put
low?
low.
No. People give 1-2 Switch way too much shit. It is not worth $50, but it is a totally solid game that is a very, very fun time. And if you mix it up and show it to different people and bring it to all sorts of different circumstances, there's a lot of fun to be had here. And it really is, I think, still to this day, one of the best examples of the Switch's hardware, like things that make the Switch's hardware special.
So I actually do like 1-2 Switch also. I think a lot of the hate it got was unfair. I got it back during the launch window for
Yeah.
full price.
Yeah,
But
so did I. Though
I
I
do
didn't pay
think
for it.
it's
My brother paid for it for some reason. I don't know why he bought it.
I think my mom might have bought it for me. I don't remember exactly this circumstance around it, but I remember not having to pay for it.
Mhm.
But it was fun. I played it with family quite a bit. I when the Switch came out, I was actually visiting my grandparents and my aunt. So it was a fun way to get people involved. And Uh, if I thought this was one of the 10 best games on the Switch's life, what, 4 years in, I'd be incredibly depressed. But I'm glad that you enjoy it more than most people because that's in the rear view for me, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I actually would like to see like a new 1, 2, 3 Switch or something.
One,
Like
two,
because if they
two switch.
yes, one
Just add
two
another two
Switch
onto
two.
it.
But I think that if you flesh out that idea, you could have something I think really cool.
Or like 1-2 switch, and the two's like really big in the box.
There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options. Or roll some of that shit into Mario Party and WarioWare or
Sure,
something. I
yeah.
think,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. You put those awesome ideas in, I think, a stronger framework, and I'd agree with you that it's up there at the very top.
100%.
I'm gonna put one that's on your list, but it's gonna be way higher. So let's
hmm
keep the controversy rolling. My number 10 is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Okay.
So I enjoy this game quite a bit. I blasted through it. I started and could not stop playing. I played less than you did.
hmm
But I felt really satisfied with my one run I did, which turns out is an Iron Man because I'm not a child. If I'm going to play Fire Emblem on Classic, if a unit dies, they're dead. I don't
hmm
want to keep restarting, right?
Yeah.
So my experience with Fire Emblem was very special. It was my run. I do prefer Awakening personally. I do
hmm
think that for my taste, the 3DS games are a little bit stronger, but I think that the ways that Three Houses advanced the formula are really great. I love the amount of choice you have. I love how there's some more cinematic elements here. I think the characters are really endearing. There's a lot to really like about this game. And as we talked about in our 2021 predictions video, as you talked about, hopefully we're going to get another mainline game that takes what Three Houses did so well and builds
Yep,
on it.
that would be fantastic. Yoshi's Crafted World is an underappreciated, just absolutely fantastic game. This game is looked over because it's a Yoshi game. It's easy. It's got a cutesy art style, but there's a lot of high quality design decisions here. It's some of the best visual design, I would say. I mean, some of those background models for like everyday objects are super ridiculously high quality.
Yeah.
And not only that, there's just so much content in this game. There's so many things to collect. There's so many reasons to want to revisit levels, and it's formatted really uniquely. Their levels are super diverse. There's a horror level, which I will stand by, scariest level in a video game. For the meme, it's not actually, but it's surprisingly scary for a Yoshi level. Yoshi's Crafted World gets a seal of approval.
So it's not in my top 10, but I love this game too. And I think what's so special about it is it finally steps outside of the I wish I was Yoshi's Island again trope that I think a lot of
Sure.
games, including Woolly World, fall into. Woolly World has such a gorgeous aesthetic, but on a more gameplay level, it's pretty much, Yoshi's Island again. What's so great about Crafted World is the way that it actually moves that formula forward and actually breaks a lot of tropes of just 2D platformers in general. I like how there's some more 3D elements in the game, and I do think that the flipping the stages around mechanic is really novel, and it sells how great that aesthetic is.
100%.
So that's a strong call. My number 9 is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. It's not Breath of the Wild yet. We're gonna get there. I wanted to fake the audience out. I want a little bit of a
Well,
switcheroo
your
moment.
pacing there on your own speaking did not sell that moment.
Yeah, it didn't. But I was certainly sold on Link's Awakening when I saw it, and picking it up and beating it. It's my favorite 2D Zelda game. I
Okay.
think what's so excellent about this game is the world of Kahulan Island is so unique. The characters you meet are so fun. I really do love this art style. I think it's a special game. There are some pretty archaic moments in it, but it's fun to revisit that older design philosophy in this modern context with this amazing world. I'm really excited for you to play it because I know
Yes.
you have the game. Visually, gameplay wise, I really love everything about Link's Awakening.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get to it. It's certainly up there. I've got a couple other things on my plate, but I did buy it late last year, and it's high priority for me because I do expect to really like it. Which maybe I'm setting my expectations a little too high, but it seems to be a quality experience, and I've liked all the Zelda I've played. So, number 8, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Ooh,
Smash is Smash, and Smash is cool. I mean, it's Smash Brothers, and this is I'm not ashamed to say it's the best Smash, and I don't give a shit about Melee, to be honest. That's a fine, solid video game, but Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is just so much fun. I mean, I haven't played it a lot recently, to be honest. I do think that in all unfortunatality, I'm coming up with a new word there. The COVID lockdown situation has pretty much killed my interest in Smash, because Smash for me is a party game. It is with friends. It is me messing around with them in the different modes and things like that. It's us sitting on a couch, getting as many people as we can into one game, like that kind of deal. And we would play it every week. We would play it sitting in class together. We would play it sitting in the dining hall together at lunch. But all of that is gone. And I haven't had a lot of opportunities to go back to it because I don't play it single player personally.
Sure.
But the package itself is unbelievably, ridiculously content rich. I have no idea how this game is real, but for me, the lack of single player interest personally is what drives it down to a little bit lower on the list. But that doesn't negate the quality at all. I mean, holy shit.
I don't think it would surprise you to know that we're going to be revisiting this game on my list a lot further down this discussion. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Let's talk about one that I think might be your number 1, and that's my number 8, Super Mario Odyssey. I really enjoy Super Mario Odyssey. I think it's a great game. For me, it misses the very pinnacle of the Mario franchise, in my opinion, but what it has in spades is incredible movement and creativity that is so special, and I've dumped so many hours into this game. I'll never forget waking up at 4 in the morning. This was back in high school when this game came out, and I had to get up at 6. And if I ever woke up and you check the clock and you still have like 2 hours of sleep before I got to get up for school, it's so nice. But on that day, I knew that I had a copy of Super Mario Odyssey preloaded on my bedside table. So from like 4 to 6, I was playing that game and played so much that weekend.
Yeah,
It's a special game. I think it's one of Nintendo's most creative games. And while I'd like to see some of these ideas refined a little bit more, maybe in
sure.
Odyssey 2, this game is really something special.
Yeah. Splatoon 2 is also really special. Splatoon 2, my number 7. I mean, I don't think I ever played the first Splatoon. I know I own it because
Oh,
my brother
okay.
played it on his Wii, on our Wii U. But I randomly picked up Splatoon 2. I was in my phase of buying everything that Nintendo put out at the early years of the Switch. Yes, I'm wearing gloves. Um, don't ask why. But it took me almost a year to get into Splatoon. I probably had played a handful of rounds of it, but it was
Sure.
summer 2018 where I really got into it. And when I really got into it, I really got into it. And I would sit there on the couch with my brother. We would switch off the controller every time we died. I would call up my friends and we would hook up together and play a squad together and wreck some shit. I mean, I played the single player all the way through. I did a lot of salmon run with friends and online. I got really into it and I was feeling competitive about it, but unfortunately that dropped. But I think I got my fill over 100 hours. So
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 still one of my favorite games of all time.
I also have over 100 hours in that game.
Yeah.
You know what I don't have 100 hours in? My number 7.
7.
I can't count. I'm glad that I'm count this on my backlog that has numbers under it.
It does.
So that helps a little bit. But my number 7, terrible segue, doesn't matter. Wonderful
Yeah.
video game here at number 7, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Okay.
Uh this game is, I think, it's not even the gold standard. What's better than gold? Platinum? Is platinum better than
Yeah.
gold? It's the
I mean,
platinum.
Pokemon Platinum is definitely better than Pokemon Gold.
Oh, I totally agree with that. So then let's just go with it. This game is the platinum standard for
It's actually
animation.
it's the X and Y.
I mean, I agree with you still. So we'll say it's the X standard for animation and
Sure.
personality and detail in Nintendo game.
Mhm.
What Next Level Games was able to create in the Last Resort Hotel is staggeringly impressive. And I think that incredible presentation is paired with a gameplay that really advances Luigi's Mansion forward and adds in a lot more puzzle elements and adds in a lot more nuance in the actual combat and more
Mhm.
nuance in the traversal that makes the game a lot more toothy than the older Luigi's Mansion games. I think it really is an excellent world to get lost in and one of the best games in the system. I think it's really something special.
Yeah. Another one I have access to. I did start it. I think I probably played about 2 hours of it, and I got distracted by something else. But I remember seeing those trailers for that and saying, like, wow, this game looks
Yeah.
great. Wow, they're really expanding the formula in interesting ways. And these environments are certainly much more interesting than what I've seen from the past games. Keep in mind I've never played a Luigi's Mansion game outside of the 2 hours I played of three.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another one that is high up there, and I'm sure I really will enjoy it when I get to it. But Animal Crossing New Horizons is a game at my number 6 that took over my life, and I'm so happy that it did. I mean, it's been said to death, but it's the game that helped the pandemic start, and unfortunately, it's fallen off. I think that's due
Yeah.
to Nintendo not properly supporting the game, at least in this short term. It's possible they have bigger stuff coming, but that would not make too much sense since they haven't dropped a lot of big stuff recently. But I mean, we've talked about this game a lot on this channel. There's certainly disagreements in formula, but I think that the things that this game does take steps to expand the Animal Crossing formula and help it reach a wider audience, make it, in my eyes, an objectively superior experience from a content level, from an engagement level, and yeah, I put a lot of time into it. Also, looking at all my games, I think I'm confident in saying this is my favorite Switch game visually. I think that
Okay. It's
I think the
stunning.
visuals of
The
Animal Crossing New
leaves.
Horizons, the leaves and just like this, the lighting effects
Yeah.
and the textures on different things. I mean, it's really impressive.
So this is the list about positivity. So I will just say that New Leaf is one of my favorite games of all time. New Horizons isn't quite, but I am confident that there's a chance that by doubling down on some of the more player agency driven things, to crafting and various things, we could get, I think, a year or two of Animal Crossing New Horizons
Sure.
that brings in players like you who are lapsed and players like me who weren't really on the train. Because I think by adding, things like cooking or crafting, which have both been data mined, cooking or farming, crafting's
Yes.
already in there. apparently. But I think by adding those things, you could really take Animal Crossing more in like the Stardew direction. And I think
Sure.
by doubling down on where this foundation is going, we could get a game that feels really fresh and really fun 2 years in. And I think could even draw me back in by doubling down on the different design philosophy.
Hmm.
I've got my issues with the game, but I'm really glad that so many people connected with it. I'm glad Animal Crossing is this S tier franchise now, and
Yep.
I'm hopeful that that success obviously means we're not getting another brand new Animal Crossing game, but we're in a unique position where Nintendo can actually support and evolve this game over several years,
Yeah.
and maybe speak to me a little bit more. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. My number six is a game that I know didn't connect with you, but I absolutely love, and that is Super Mario Maker 2.
Okay. Yeah.
This game, I think it does a couple things wrong, and some of them are just because it's not on Wii U. And for as
Mm.
flawed as the Wii U is, that was a perfect space for Mario Maker
Yeah.
1. And losing the gamepad is a little bit of a bummer, but when you're designing levels in handheld and you get into the way that Mario Maker 2 feels, this is just, I think, such a rich experience, especially now that we got the World Maker update and the Link
Yeah.
update. I,
Yeah.
I think the state that this game is in now is incredible, and I still regularly watch content on YouTube with excellent creators like DGR, and what the Mario Maker community is still putting out is just incredible. And it's a testament to the foundation Nintendo made here, and it's just a game I can always go back to and find new and exciting ways to engage with 2D Mario, which is a franchise on the whole I find a little bit static, a little bit too samey. But
Hmm.
what people are able to get out of Mario Maker 2 is incredible. And I've put almost 80 hours into the game, and I really think that that's going to keep climbing over the Switch's life. Even if there's no more
Sure.
new updates, the creativity and positivity of the community around it keeps me engaged.
Yeah. So it's not one that I personally connected with, but that doesn't knock anything that it does. I'm just a tiny brain motherfucker who can't make stages. I don't
Yeah.
really give a shit about that creative aspect of it. And I also am not that huge into just straight up 2D platforming, to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
I've played a lot of the 2D Mario games, but they don't really resonate with me in any particular way. Um, but I think that what Mario Maker 2 does, especially now that we do have those updates, like you're saying, with the world maps and the Link update and all that, are incredibly special.
Yeah.
And I wish I had gotten more into it, but I think I've kind of missed the train at this point because I don't hear people talk about it very much recently. I
Yeah.
think the hype died down significantly more than probably Nintendo was hoping. But still a very solid game.
Yeah, I think the last point I'd tag on there is I hope that Nintendo revisits either with a humongous revitalizing update or just a Mario Maker 3 that
Mm,
comes out of the gate swinging faster than 2 did, because I think
yeah,
where 2's misstep was waiting so long to get things like
100%.
Link and especially World Maker in, because I think if World Maker was in there from the beginning, there would have been that toothiness for players like you to grab onto, that
Yep.
it wasn't just vacuous levels. Um,
Yes.
so there are disappointing aspects in how the game rolled out, but I think it's a really excellent title overall.
Hmm. Now here's one that deserves to be an S tier franchise. It's a very personal one. This hits me right.
Okay.
This hits me right in the fucking fart strings. All right. Arms is one of
All
my
right.
favorite games of all time, and I've played more of it than anyone I know, except for maybe Roger Space. I think he has more hours than I do.
Friend of the show.
God, I wish that'd be so cool to have Roger Space on the show. Holy shit.
I played
Um,
Splatoon with him one time on accident.
friend of the show. Then I guess sure. But Arms is a game that I think certainly deserves to be revisited because while the base game that released in 2017 did not have an obscene amount of content, it was lacking in some departments. The A creativity, B amount of customizability that sets it apart from other fighting games, B its uniqueness in terms of its design, the character design, the visuals are absolutely fantastic. The soundtrack is across the board incredible, and the ways that they rolled out the updates were also absolutely fantastic. This game had a lot of strength around it, has a really passionate community. I think the fact that they continue to release characters and do tweaks and updates and added badges system, and they kept doing party crashes. Um, Everything about this game excites me. I haven't played it in a while, but I mean that's a trend for all of these. I mean, I haven't
Sure.
played Breath of the Wild in 2 years. Doesn't mean I don't like it. Um,
Yeah.
but man, an Arms 2, I think really could double down and make this a franchise that Nintendo can lean back on. I mean, it sold what, 2.5 million copies? That's more than like Xenoblade 1 did. So it has potential for sure.
It's the potential of ARMS that I always hang on to because I think it's sort of the inverse of Mario Maker 2 for me, where if those updates had come sooner that ARMS eventually got, I
Mhm.
probably would have stayed on that train longer because
Sure.
a lot of my frustrations with the game were
Isn't that
from
the
that.
same as Mario Maker 2?
Well, instead of it being you who weren't connected
Oh,
with the
oh, oh,
game, it
sure. Gotcha,
was
gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
it was me. Because I think if where ARMS ended is where it began, I would
Mhm.
have been hooked by it
Yeah.
because like you said, it's that potential, it's that character roster, it's that soundtrack, it's the premise of those core mechanics. So
Mhm.
so while I didn't find a lot to grab onto in Arms 1, I really hope that Arms 2 happens. And I think just the generally fucking absurd cash flow of the Switch era
Mhm.
and the modest success of Arms 1 hopefully can greenlight a sequel.
Yeah.
I do think it deserves it. I think unlike fucking Sushi Strikers or some of the other weird things we've seen thrown out on Switch, I think Arms is one that even though it didn't fully connect, it
Yeah.
could if we
Mhm.
if we went back to that well. Now this is a well that's almost run dry because the Pokemon Company never fucking stops. And we're talking about
Mhm.
my number five, and we're not talking about Sword and Shield. We're talking
Mhm.
about the best Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch, and that is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Mhm.
Specifically Pikachu, that's the one I played.
Yeah.
No Pokemon. So we got to step back. We got to
Okay. All
step
right.
back for a moment.
Oh God. All right.
Um, the
Check
la-
Twitter.
prior
There's too
to
much
Let's
laundry.
Go, prior to Let's Go, the last Pokemon game I had truly gotten into was Y. I played Omega Ruby and I played Sun, both to completion, but never post game or anything. I never played Ultra Sun. I found myself in a lull with the Pokemon series.
Sure.
For me, Let's Go reconnected me with why I love Pokemon in a very specific way. Like you talk about, sometimes there are issues with how direct that remake is. There's issues with, I think, it being a little bit too shallow in some gameplay perspectives.
Yep.
But I think the success of the way that the Pokemon world feels more alive with the Pokemon following you and the Pokemon in the overworld and getting a fresh way to engage with the core gameplay with the Go mechanics, for me, it was exactly what I needed to be reminded of why this is one of, if not my favorite franchise of all time.
Mhm.
So I'm always advocating for more Let's Go because I think there's a lot of like Arms. Actually, I think there's a lot of potential to make this formula something that appeals to a wider base. But for me, in the current form, I really really loved Let's Go Pikachu, and I consider those 30 hours I spent with it some of my favorite with the Switch period.
So, just to give my quick thoughts on this, I've actually become more and more positive on Let's Go as I've been thinking about it the last few months. And unfortunately, that has inversely made my Pokemon Sword and Shield opinions tank quite a
Sure.
bit. But I think all of the Let's Go elements in Pokemon Let's Go, anything new that they added to the formula, are absolutely fantastic and exactly where I want to see the Pokemon formula go. Unfortunately, Pokemon Company also choke themselves from expanding
Yes.
by forcing too much nostalgia, strictly keeping to the 151. Well, fucking Melton and Melmetal.
But also not even like a Pichu,
Yes,
or anything like
exactly,
that.
exactly. And one-to-one map of Kanto
Yeah.
and no extra, really no extra story bits or anything.
Yeah.
And it's weird where they did allow themselves to have Alolan forms and Mega Evolutions, but you couldn't get a Pichu or like a Glaceon. It's like
Yeah.
there's it doesn't make a lot of sense the way that they did handle this, but Pokemon following in the overworld, the riding Pokemon, the ways that they change HMs, the Pokemon in the overworld, getting rid of wild battles, co-op, um,
Yeah.
customizing your Pikachu, everything there is fantastic and needs
Yeah.
to be continued in the series as we go forward. I just want there to be another Let's Go. If it's a Johto, if it's a Sinnoh, if it's whatever, that takes those things and just goes haywire with them. Because if they double down on that and downplay the nostalgia, there's a lot of potential here.
Let's go Galar.
Oh God! Oh fuck! It would just be one straight line.
The cover art is just Masuda giving the middle finger to everybody.
Oh, that would be so funny. Um, that's actually talking about Let's Go. Surprisingly enough, has brought up my passion, my excitement for this a lot.
I'm glad.
And you know what else ignites my passion is Fire from Three Houses. It
Okay,
is
there
a
it is.
game that grabbed me by my balls in my heart, harder than oh
Simultaneously.
yes. Oh God. Well, yeah, it's got two hands. It's got well, I mean, yeah, I was gonna yeah, okay. But I love this game. I really think it's incredibly special. I'd never played a Fire Emblem game before. I did it because I picked up the game because I'm like, okay, this looks cool. It looks like a slight expansion to the Fire Emblem formula. It's getting good reviews. You know what? I'll just try it. And so many hours into the night, every night for weeks on end. I personally approach Fire Emblem from more of a character perspective. I've learned to care a little more about the strategy formula as time has gone on, but it's really the cast that connected to me and kept me going because there's so many characters in this game. They're all so incredibly well written. There's so much choice that you're given to interact with them with. And not only that, you get to build them through battle. You get to really choose your team and connect with them in a way that I don't really think almost any other RPGs that I've played have. Like
Yeah.
you play as a lot of characters in RPGs, but in this where there is such a diverse roster and they all have connections to each other, you get this support conversations that go so deep and each one fleshes out each character even more. And you start off with the character, you're like, oh well, they're just a generic whatever. And then if you get into their supports, you realize, holy shit, there's a really interesting character here that has wants and needs and friends and relationships. And man, it's so incredible. And I can't wait for what Intelligent Systems does next because
Yeah.
there's so much going here, especially with the additions of a little more open format with Garrick Mock Monastery and the 3D visuals and all that. They really could do something great next.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I shared my thoughts already, so I'll move on to my number 4, which I think I've been thinking about this. I think there's a strong argument for this being the best game Nintendo has, period.
Okay.
And that's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay.
I think that there are few games that Nintendo's put out that have the level of polish, the depth of content that this game does. And I think that the ways that I already love Mario Kart 8, but the ways that it polished Mario Kart 8 to being the complete package that the Wii U release wasn't, with battle mode, with new accessibility options, with some more characters and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The way the game is now, I know you don't connect personally with racing games, but the precision in those mechanics, the replayability in every one of the modes. I love this game. I put like 80 hours into the Wii U version. I'm at almost 110 here on Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I play this game constantly with family and friends and my girlfriend, and it's always fun and always fresh, no matter how many times I'm playing the same track, no matter how long our session is going. I'm always down to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and it's just so great. And then, like Donkey says, because he talks about this in his favorite games of 2020 video, that soundtrack is incredible, and that's what I think elevates this game even higher. On top of visual fidelity and the depth of content and the precision of mechanics, this is some of the best music Nintendo's ever composed.
Yeah, that's a great.
I think this game is just so great. The idea that a Mario Kart 9 could not only exist, and I don't give a fuck about Tor. Don't tell me that Tor is the next main level game. Is not. The fact that game could exist and be better than this is absurd. Yeah. It's absurd. Yeah. It makes me have to readjust my hat. Mm-hmm. What a game, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
You're right. You know what? The gloves are coming off. I'm just sweaty. I just wanted to make it seem like there was something more going on. But to give my thoughts on Mario Kart 8, nothing about this game displeases me other than the fact that it's a racing game.
Sure. Which
is hilarious, but
yeah.
Not only is it my exposure to the genre is limited, but it's my favorite racing game. You're correct in everything you're saying, but I find no replay value in going around the same fucking loop again and again.
All right.
I find no reason to go into the content when there's very little unlockables overall. I mean, you can get cart parts, stuff like that. I really think that if they take everything they did here, which of course I'm not degrading what the success of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is, still the best Wii U port from on the Switch content wise. I'm saying, and for my tastes, maybe add like an adventure mode, maybe add more missions. I did enjoy mission mode when I played that on Mario Kart DS, and give it a little more of a single player boost for me. And also pull in everything with the battle mode and of course Grand Prix and customization, and hopefully I really like them expanding to other Nintendo franchises. All of that I think could make Mario Kart 9, if they do go that direction, something that connects to me a little bit more, because on the whole Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a game that I've put still like 70 plus hours into. It's not that's not shabby, but it's a great game that I wish I connected to more, but going around in circles, not my cup of tea.
not always circles.
Oh, some of them are lines, actually. That's true.
Some are lines.
Um, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
It's
It's
also my
time.
number 3.
It's number 3. All right,
Yes.
we can just have a banter
Perfect.
about our backlogs right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
To get the joke.
Because we both had played the game a while ago.
No, well, it's the title of our channel.
I thought this was Game Explain.
No, I hope it's not. But Breath of the Wild, my first Zelda game, and
Oh,
not only
interesting.
that, the obviously first game I played on Switch, and not only that, one of the first games I put over 100 hours into. Well, I mean, there were a few others before that, but man, this game is really special. I mean, there's not a lot we can say about it that sounds unique or special because it
Yeah.
is one of the most talked about games in the last generation. But I don't give a shit about weapon breaking. Like people have been bringing that up recently
No.
as more of a detractor of Breath of the Wild, but I always just felt like I was having a good time trying different weapons and stuff like that, which is not something I honestly do in a lot of video games. I usually find one and stick with it. Did that in Bloodborne. Shouldn't have done that in Bloodborne. I wish I'd tried other weapons. But I there's so many personal memories with this game,
Yeah.
whether it be figuring out you can dye your gear and me and my friend comparing our outfits, whether it's seeing a dragon fly over a hill for the first time when you
Sure.
didn't know that was in the game, whether that is messing around with the mechanics or finding a shrine in a unique way that feels like you're breaking the gameplay. Nintendo has created systems here that are unlike any other and make this one of the best open world games of all time because it gives you as a character so much more choice in the way you approach the world. You're not just zooming over it in cars and interacting with glowing dots. You can fuck with everything. I mean, you can mess with
Yeah.
anything you want, and that really makes it special.
Breath of the Wild, from a game design perspective, is fucking brilliant. And because what it does is it was Nintendo finally looking towards Western game development for inspiration,
Mhm,
then saying, let's just do it better. And that's
mhm.
exactly what they did. This game blows the doors and the roof and the floor off the fucking barn that is the Western open world RPG.
Yep.
And like you said, there's not much I can say, so I'll share an anecdote. I was
Okay.
playing this game, um, basically without a guide, without anything, right? And I
Mhm,
was texting with one of my friends from high school, and we were both playing completely separately. And for me, I got off the Great Plateau, and the first place I hit was Laurelin Village. And then
okay.
one of
Don't even
that's
remember
like
where that is.
it's like on the coast.
Oh, sure.
like a
Yeah.
fishing town
Mhm.
almost. So that's the first town I hit. One of the first shrines I hit was a major test of strength.
Yep.
I fucking battled with that thing. Lots of death. Finally beat it. I was like, fuck, this game is hard. And then I talked to my friend, and he had gone to Kakariko and done all these other things, found minor tests of strength and everything. And the reason I share this is because we both started the same place and had such
Mhm,
divergent experiences that we both loved equally. And Nintendo had the restraint to craft this world in a way where you can just do whatever you want.
mhm.
They don't feel the need to walk you through anything. They don't feel the need to ensure that the player sees X, Y, and Z before they reach Q, you know?
Yeah.
The way you're able to traverse the world and create your own experience is why this game is so special. And for me, the story of Breath of the
100%.
Wild is not the story of Calamity Ganon. It's the story of my adventure. And there are
Mhm.
few video games that give you the level of freedom necessary to actually have that in a materially important and different way.
Yeah.
And I just think that this game is incredibly special. There's a lot of weight on Breath of the Wild sequel.
Yeah. It's
I'm
true.
curious to see what direction they take it in. Personally, I want this to be a chapter in the past. I want them to take these conventions and have more traditional Zelda dungeons and
Sure.
weapons and
Sure.
everything. Because I don't think you can't put this genie back in the bottle. You
No.
can never have the moment of stepping on the Great Plateau for the second time.
Mhm.
But what I think you can do is take what succeeded so well there and put it in new context. So I'm really excited for the future. And I'll always remember that past. It's an incredibly
Yeah.
special game.
That was an essay right there, and I appreciate it. I mean, honestly, just to touch on the possibility of Breath. Well, we know Breath of the Wild 2 is coming, but what it could do is I actually do agree. I think that keeping this one as the open sort of make your own adventure style of game and funneling these mechanics and the idea of exploration and the heart that this game has into something that is a little more linear, does have a better story, does tackle dungeons a little bit better, but approaches them from the perspective of the mechanics of Breath of the Wild. The
Yeah.
reason why Breath of the Wild is so special is because of the mechanics, not necessarily because of what it does for compared to other Zelda games. But we've seen Zelda games that do dungeon designed and item order and all of that over and over again. And now we have something different. And if they can merge those two and give us
Yeah.
dungeons that are bigger and allow you to climb the walls and mess with the mechanics and stuff like that in a more organic way than just, okay, yeah, I have a bomb now, then I can do this. And maybe you do get a more strict item order that do unlock other
Sure.
stuff and give you a little bit of a classic Link to the Past style of exploration.
Totally.
I think there's so much potential here, and I can't wait for that game. Holy shit.
Me neither.
Yeah.
In the
My
meantime,
turn.
let's talk about.
No, I think it's my turn now.
It was both of our turns, so I'll allow it to be your turn.
No, well, yeah, okay. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We're doing
Right
it.
on.
We're talking about it.
It's also my number 2.
No, wouldn't that surprise me? Wouldn't that be a special moment? Unfortunately, it's not a special moment, but I had lots of special moments with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because I played this game more in a short period of time than I think I have for any other video game.
Yeah.
I was addicted to this game, and I know that a game connects to me when I can't think of anything else, and I'm spending all of my free time looking up lore videos and joining subreddits and making my own Discord for a Xenoblade 2 fan group, and drawing the characters and writing my own stories about these things. And like, there's so much to this game that hooked me. And from a storytelling perspective, from a character dynamic perspective, honestly, the visuals are low
They're
quality,
totally fine.
but they do look really good. And I think the art style carries it over. I think that the voice acting is not as bad as people give it shit for. But I just love this game. And stepping out into the Argentum Trade Guild and hearing that music rev up and going and exploring and noticing that you can sort of minorly platform around areas with your really awkward jump to find secrets and find hidden people that give you a quest line that ties into other stuff, and you can get blades that are hidden behind quest lines. There's so much exploration, there's so much detail in this world, and I just wanted to stay in this world forever. And I played it for 130 hours, and it was absolutely magical.
So I've always wanted to connect to Xenoblade. I've tried with like literally every Xenoblade game, including Torna.
Mm-hmm.
Something just doesn't click for me, but I want it to because I see these environments, I see this art direction, I see the scope of the experience, I hear the music. So I'm very glad I can live vicariously through you,
Mm-hmm.
and I will continue to pointlessly spend money on Xenoblade games until one finally connects with me.
Did you buy Definitive Edition?
Not yet, but I will. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
The only reason I haven't yet is because I bought Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So, did part of my due diligence, but not all the way yet. I want to play Future Connected.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I don't know. Same reason I bought Torna. I don't know. Let's talk about my number 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's fucking time for me to talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh.
Yes. It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
But to be serious, I agree that this is the best Smash Brothers game by far.
Yeah.
I'm one of those fucking heathens that thinks each Smash Brothers game is better than the last one.
Yeah.
And this is just a definitive statement. And for me, I love the multiplayer. I played a lot of it with friends in high school, even more of it with my friends in my dorm at college before the world ended.
Mm-hmm.
And so that experience is special to me, but it's actually the single player experience in Smash Brothers that compels me even more. Because for me, it's this way to celebrate all these disparate elements of Nintendo's history in the context of a really mechanically rich game. Yep. I love the Spirit board. I think Spirit's really cool. I don't care what anyone says. They're not trophies.
Yeah, I like
they're
Spirits.
Still very cool.
I do miss trophies. I do miss seeing the big field of them standing all together. I'm like, I did this. I put this there.
Yeah, and then the trophy boxes in Smash Wii U where you can.
Those are fun.
Yeah. And the coin shooter game from Brawl.
Yeah.
Coin launcher is what it's called.
Yeah.
There are things about Smash Ultimate that let me down. I would like a little bit more single player content, but as a gameplay guy, right, you take my fucking favorite video game characters and then fucking everybody else under the sun and the moon and the stars in the universe. and you shove them together with, I think, the best mechanics in the entire series. And I just have an experience that I play over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I can't get enough of Smash Brothers. I think it's obviously my favorite fighting game by a fucking country mile.
Oh yeah.
And Justice 2 is like,
Well, Arms.
well, sure. Both Arms and Justice 2 would have to have ladders the size of the
Indiana.
Apollo of Indiana. You'd have to go from the tip of Indiana's toe to the fucking top of its head to climb from where Injustice 2 is to Smash Ultimate. From the breadth of content, the music, the amount of modes, the characters, the amount of love in this game is just, you don't see it. You just don't. There's just nothing like Smash Ultimate.
No, there's not. I don't know how that game exists. I still like wake up in a warm sweat. It's the opposite of a cold sweat. I'm not scared. I'm happy. So I'm sweating really warmly. I wake up and I'm like, how does Smash Ultimate exist? How is this game real? And then I'm like, oh, it is real. There's nothing wrong in this world. No problems.
It's such a successful experience. I want Sakurai to step away from it for good.
100%.
This is Smash Brothers peak.
Yep.
Now what I want Sakurai to do is take all of the fucking whatever is in his head, which is just like, it's like honey. It's just pure honey. It's development honey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And put it into another game, like Kid Icarus or like Kirby Air Ride.
I want to make a new franchise, to be 100% honest. That's my dream.
I want him to revive something. That's what I want him to do.
New franchise.
In the meantime, though, I want you to talk about your number one, because I'm done.
Number one, Super Mario Odyssey. I like the jumpy. I like the rolly. I like the cappy. I do think that this is one of the most pure, joyful gameplay experiences of all time. I think there's nothing more special than going around and finding moons that have jokes around them and discovering areas that you didn't know existed. There's so many moments in this game that are tied around each of the worlds that are just unforgettable. I mean, we knew that there was going to be a T-Rex in it, but we didn't know that if you fell off the edge of the Wooded Kingdom that you would land in a fucking scary forest with a T-Rex that hunt you down. I mean, that's crazy. We didn't know that you'd be platforming up chicken barf in the Luncheon Kingdom. We didn't know that you'd be plopped into Dark Souls for like 3.5 seconds with the
Ruined Kingdom.
Ruined Kingdom, yes. And I mean, I think that this is one of the other games that the love and care goes absolutely beyond. I mean, I pull up this video that I have of a live recording of the Odyssey soundtrack, and it blows my fucking mind. I mean, so many. First off, the soundtrack is absolutely fantastic. All of the areas are so iconic, have such great themes, but the ways that they put the music together is just next fucking level. I mean, using kitchen materials in the Luncheon Kingdom theme, in Peronza Plata, something like that theme. That's so special. It's so creative, and it gives the game just this boost of joy. It was my first real 3D Mario that I got into, and it certainly set my expectations a certain way for how I enjoy that franchise. But I think that if this is the direction that they're headed, I'm a happy fucking camper, because this is one of the best video games I ever played. And I think the reason that this pushes past Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade, and Fire Emblem and all those games that I like is because I think this is one of, for me, games that has the most replay value. It's one of the only games I've ever seriously tried to speed run. And not only that, just I 100%ed it multiple times. And yeah, no, that's about it. There's so much special in this game.
Yeah, so I mean, I talked about it pretty fully. The last thing I want to add, and I've told you about this, I think the audience should hear it too. Okay. If you want to play Odyssey in a kind of a fun new way, do a Talkatoo run, where the only moons you can collect are the moons Talkatoo tells you to collect, which sends you through the kingdoms in a completely different and fun way.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So I mean, I've already shared my thoughts on the game, but it's just a fun little thing that I discovered, wanting something new to do, and I saw that online and did a couple runs like that. And it's just a fun, different way to experience the game, and it speaks to, I think, just how much creativity is fucking stuffed in that ball.
Let me beep boop boop beep beep. Hello? Yeah. Is this Jeff Game Freak? Yeah. Please look at Super Mario Odyssey Exhibit A. This is how you do nostalgia bait. This is how you do that. Yeah, paintings, traveling between worlds. Yeah, having Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah, having Donkey Kong in the New Donk City climax. Yeah, that's how you do nostalgia. Okay, all right, thank you. Talk to you
Charizard.
later. No, I don't give a shit about Charizard. I really like Charizard. It's a great Pokemon.
It's no Blastoise, but I like Charizard also.
It's a terrible take.
Time for my number one. Nintendo, what I value, no, Tucker, what I value most in Nintendo is creativity, right? And their ability to think outside of the box.
Yes.
And this game has grown on me a lot over time. And it's
Okay.
less of just a game and more of an experience. I think that's why the thing is so successful. My favorite exclusive on Nintendo Switch is Labo Variety Kit number 1. I'm kidding. It's Splatoon 2.
Yeah,
Fuck
that was
Labo.
yeah.
I've played. I actually like Labo. I think it's fine. It's whatever. It's whatever. But it's a no Splatoon 2.
Mhm.
Splatoon 2, Tucker Hazel, is the epitome of everything I love about Nintendo.
That's number 7 on my list.
Put into the palm of this hand right here.
The tiny little hand, tiny little bitch boy baby hand.
It took some time for Splatoon 2 to get this high.
Mhm.
But by the time all of the updates are out, by the time the incredible Octo expansion was out, this game solidified itself at number 1. And because it takes, like I said, everything I love about Nintendo and puts it together.
Mhm.
The aesthetic and world of Splatoon is unlike anything you're going to find anywhere else.
So good. Krusty Sean just makes me happy.
Yeah. The character designs, the overall art direction, the world of Inkopolis, all of the characters, the music, the fact that just from the minds of Nintendo's developers, they were able to pull out and concoct the world of Splatoon was incredible. Then you pair that with such a deep and interesting lore, especially deep and interesting lore that is made even more deep by the Octo expansion, because the base campaign Splatoon 2 is fun, but it's pretty derivative of Splatoon 1.
Yeah.
The Octo expansion is something different entirely. It feels more like a Super Mario Sunshine-esque 3D platformer.
Sure.
It's incredible. And then, of course, Tucker, you put the gameplay in.
Oh,
right?
that's important.
The gameplay in, and I'm a gameplay first type of guy. And as I was goofing around with Labo, what I do love about Nintendo is their creativity and their ability to think outside of the box and reimagine, recontextualize, recreate gameplay styles in fresh new ways. I like a good shooter, and I love the way Splatoon 2 riffs on the third-person shooter and creates something fresh with it.
Mhm.
Both in terms of the core gameplay and with the multiplayer modes that your turf wars and everything, and your ranked modes, but your salmon runs. I think that everything about this game is so incredibly successful. The progression of getting new guns and getting new gear and rolling the gear and re-rolling the gear and the Splatfest and everything about this game makes me run out of breath because I just want to keep praising it. My diaphragm will not let me talk about Splatoon 2 to the extent that I want to.
Mhm.
Splatoon 3 must happen. I'm using the politician point now because I'm getting serious.
Okay.
It must happen. It must happen this year. And I think it might. Wearing the Splatoon shirt today.
Yep.
You'll have
I was thinking about wearing my Splatoon shirt. I have a Splatoon shirt over there. One of the few video game shirts I own, but I'm not wearing a gray shirt.
But Tucker, those are my 10 favorite Nintendo Switch.
And Abram, those are my 10 favorite Nintendo Switch exclusives.
Any shout outs you want to give, the games that you like but wouldn't have made on the list for one reason or another?
Honestly, not particularly. There's a pretty steep gap between my 10 and then the rest of them. The only one that sort of bridges the gap is Snipperclips. I think that's a really fun game.
Sure.
It's not a first party game, but it's certainly an exclusive. Obviously. And yeah, I mean, I wish that game was still around, but that was a special moment. It was a great way to start off the Switch to show how you can use the split Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Super fun. Hope it gets more expansion in the future. A sequel would be great.
I'd shout out quickly Clubhouse Games, which my girlfriend and I play a lot of, and I think it's just a fun example of Nintendo's blue ocean, like 7th generation philosophy recontextualized on Switch. I think Super Mario Party is another underrated and a little bit content bare, but really fun party game that my sister and I got a lot of enjoyment out of together. I give a quick shout out to Tropical Freeze, which I think is a very underwhelming port in terms of content added, but in the context of one of the best 2D platformers ever, in my opinion. So I think those would probably be the honorable mentions to the handout. Also, one to Mario Tennis Aces, which I played for like 45 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more from that game. I had such big hopes for my boy Mario Tennis Aces, and I still got great core gameplay, but I hope Camelot smooths that out. But I could keep going.
Yeah.
I think the Switch's library is great. Kirby Star Allies really turned itself around with that DLC content.
Hmm.
I fucking did a pirouette there. A lot of great games in the system. Hope we get a lot more this year. I hope, Tucker.
Yes. Abram Beener, Backlog Banter.
I hope that I get 2 new games in my top 10 out of 2021.
Ooh.
That's my hope. 2.
Well, that released this year?
Yes,
Sure.
that's my hope.
Interesting. I mean, I played 2 last year that entered my top 10. Yoshi's Crafted World and New Horizons.
Outside of,
And it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
Just knowing myself, if I play Link's Awakening and love it, if I play Luigi's Mansion 3 and love it, it's certainly possible there's a different top 10 next year, not because of what Nintendo releases, but because holy shit, there's so many top tier games on the system that even as someone who's had it since literally minute 0, I'm still finding new games to love.
Of course, I've played every first-party title that's come out, with the exception of Xenoblade Definitive Edition. So I'm kind of waiting on that
only
news.
one.
Yeah.
Did you play Pokken DX?
Yeah.
Oh,
of course I played Pokken DX.
Oh, what the fuck? What, yeah. But Abram, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
And everyone for watching, for thanking. Dude, yep.
Now let's hold on. I want to thank you for joining me, because you always thank me for joining you.
Yeah, because
you for joining the video. I know. I want to derail it. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'll see you guys in another video. Join the Discord, please. Holy shit.
Goodbye. I don't think either Tanner nor your roommate's cat would appreciate the rectal probing that you're insinuating with those gloves.
Imagine getting multiple fingers shoved up your ass for an exam. I don't know how that works. I think that's what they do. But
with wool gloves.
Yeah, with wool gloves, not with latex. Yeah. Look at all these little bits sticking off of it. Imagine all that up in your anal cavity.
Oh, fuck.